So it is full internet streaming. It is basically streaming games over the internet, right? You're cloud gaming, and all it's being sent to you is a video stream of the game. All the processing is being done on a remote server. Your controller input goes back, and the game reacts and sends back, right? So it is Netflix for games, to if you want to kind of dumb it down to that particular moniker. But obviously, the difference between what Netflix does and what this GeForce Now attempts to do is that this interactive software, as opposed to Netflix, is very passive. If there's a 80 millisecond delay between the start of a movie and when you actually get to start watching it, that doesn't really matter as long as you're watching it in sync with the audio and everything, right? So, but with games, controller input, keyboard input, all that stuff is obviously much more important to the whole experience. Now, GeForce Now, you've probably heard it as GeForce or as NVIDIA Grid technology up till now. It was kind of how they were beta testing it, is kind of like they kept calling it the Grid servers and all that. But this is basically just it's kind of a rebrand for it. It's $7.99 a month. And for $7.99 a month, you get access to a list of about 60 games that you can play an unlimited amount, right? And it's stuff like Batman Arkham City, Borderlands, Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, Dirt 3, Dirt Showdown, a whole bunch of Lego games, that type of stuff. And that's kind of cool. So for $8 a month, you get access to that whole list of games on the left that you see there. Now, the list of games you see on the right, which is very small at this point, only 7, those are what they call purchase and play. So those are games you would have to buy above and beyond the price of the $7.99 a month subscription fee. And you might go, well, that seems a little odd, and I would kind of agree. And in reality, what NVIDIA wants this to be is like a place where people go to get new modern AAA games. Currently, only one of those I would consider that, The Witcher 3. We have, we can have a debate all episode long about whether or not that's something anybody would do, but the idea is interesting because not only with those games, not only do you get the streaming capability for it, but they also will give you a key to download the game on a local PC if you want. Right, so you could install it on Steam or Good Old Games or whatever the key happens to be for.
Well, is it a Steam competitor, or is it just a place to buy video games?
So
I mean, because I'll be honest with you, I'm sitting here with my Shield, my Shield TV right here, which I'm listing on Craigslist because, if I'm not streaming games to it, there's just nothing I do with it that I can't do. I think in most cases better on a tablet because the remote's nice, but most of the games on Android or on Android TV that are available on the Shield are basically phone games or tablet games. So the interface is messy.
It's kind of a competitor to Steam, right? So like one of the benefits that they talk about of this is like, okay, so say you're an adult, you don't have a lot of time to play games, you want to play The Witcher 3, it's a 45 gigabyte download, or you can start playing it in about 30 seconds on GeForce Now, from the time you hit play to when you actually get to the startup screens for the game, right? So that's a potential advantage. The idea that you could stream it when you are in a place convenient for streaming, but also download it to a local PC, so you're kind of getting the streaming as just like an added value is interesting. I will say that the image quality and frame rate quality you get through GeForce Now is actually pretty impressive, right? They claim it's a 1080p 60, and I was able to see that. We have incredibly fast internet here, of course. They say you need 50 megabits to get the 1080p 60 capability, but it looked really good for streaming gaming. Now, the problems come in when you get into anything involving latency, right? So some games just work better with this type of technology than others. NVIDIA can make all the claims they want about we're using the power of the Kepler GPU to lower latency and lower the total round-trip latency from controller input to actual display. And I don't deny that I don't think that they're lying about doing things to improve that, but you can only do so much. They don't control the network between me and wherever they happen to be hosting the servers. And even if I have a 29 millisecond ping to their servers, which is really good, that's round trip 60 milliseconds if we have instantaneous rendering and instantaneous input control on my side, right? So some games work and some games don't, right? So Trine 3 is kind of like an action adventure platforming type game. works fantastically. I think most racing games work because of the way you can quickly adapt to driving controls. If you look at what else did I have on this list here of games that actually did work? The Lego games, right? Those are, again, games that are very forgiving in terms of input latency, and they don't require a precise, a really high level of precision, I guess, to play the game well and have fun. But if you look at things like first-person shooters like Borderlands or Metro Last Light or even Street Fighter 4 that they have in here, which is a fighting game, which of all games that when people who play it really, really well are talking about like counting frames before they're doing moves, that latency is going to be a problem. They're playable, but I could immediately tell that there was a difference versus playing locally. So in my opinion, the service hasn't really changed much. It was Grid before, it's GeForce now. It's still, I think it's a pretty good value at $7.99. If you look at that list of 60 games and you think, oh, I want to play some of that, or my kid might want to play some of that, or, you know, $8 a month is a great way to have 8 Lego games that my kids can play anytime they want. The final kind of the problem they have is, even if this were a fantastic service and they solved every latency issue that ever existed with streaming gaming, it's only available on Shield. You can only play GeForce Now if you have a Shield device, which is a very small audience. So either I don't believe that can survive in the long term, right? Either they believe that GeForce Now is going to be so great that it's going to sell a whole bunch of Shield devices specifically to play GeForce Now, or that they're okay with a limited audience for GeForce Now to those people who already own Shields, or they just plan on opening it up to, you know, PCs and laptops at some point in the future. I don't really know. But it would seem to me if they were really proud of the service and they thought it offered compelling benefits and value to gamers, there's no magic in the Shield device that makes it only work on Shield. All Shield is doing is video decompression and then sending, you know, controller feedback back over the network. A whole host of any PC would be able to do that as fast or faster than what Shield is doing. So I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting to watch what games are added in that purchase and play category. You know, if they can get a couple of new ones that are like day and date release, it might be interesting to talk about, okay, I was able to play that at midnight in 30 seconds as opposed to having to preload or download a whole game, and then talk about what the experience differences were across the board. But they didn't solve physics, I guess, is the problem I have with it.